Welcome to Miss Scarlett. Subscribe and don't miss out on Patreon. Have fun! As the clock's hands ticked closer to the long-awaited metamorphosis, its subject stared eagerly at the mirror, envisioning the person they would soon become. Two distinct narratives awaited their emergence. One visage was familiar, a classic one, wherein a face was framed by an angular jawline, showcasing an expression of anticipation. Broad shoulders strained against the fabric of a simple dress shirt, mirroring the restrained excitement in their owner's blue-green eyes, while nervous hands fidgeted, as if yearning to be set free to complete the transformative masterpiece. But when those hands, clad now in slender sheaths of latex, picked up the curling iron, the mask they'd created began to shift and metamorphise. Soft auburn curls cascaded down, becoming the canvas for a makeover masterpiece. A moment of madness that led to the decision to attend, not as Clark, the ex-boyfriend who still harbored feelings for her, but as Hallie, the woman who had lived inside Clark for years, emerging only in the safety of locked doors and drawn curtains. The party throbbed with music and laughter beyond the bathroom door. Each beat matched the pounding heart beneath the emerald silk. With one last check of the subtle rose lipstick that complemented a fair complexion, the door handle turned. The apartment was crowded with faces both familiar and strange. College friends mingled with coworkers, all orbiting around Lisa, radiant in a crimson dress that brought back a flood of memories. She laughed at something someone said, her head tilting back to expose the graceful line of her neck. Moving through the crowd proved easier than expected. People parted with polite smiles, some offering compliments on the emerald dress. A glass of champagne provided something for nervous hands to hold, a prop in this unexpected performance. For 20 blissful minutes, anonymity reigned. Conversations flowed with strangers who had no reason to see beyond the auburn hair and carefully applied makeup. Then it happened. Across the crowded room, Lisa's eyes locked on, narrowed slightly, and widened in recognition. The champagne suddenly tasted sour as she made her way across the room. The careful planning, the hours of preparation, all seemed to collapse in the face of her approach. Lisa's expression was unreadable, a mix of surprise and something else entirely. "Clark?" she said quietly, close enough that only they could hear. "That dress is stunning on you, but I'd know those eyes anywhere." The world stopped spinning for a moment. The background noise of the party faded to a distant hum. The prepared excuses died on rose-tinted lips. Lisa's smile softened. "You look beautiful." She reached out, gently touching the sleeve of the emerald dress. "Is this why you always changed the subject when I wanted to talk about what was bothering you?" A nod was all that could be managed. "What should I call you tonight?" Lisa asked, her voice gentle but steady. "Hallie." "Well, Hallie," Lisa said, raising her champagne glass slightly. "I'm glad you came to my party. Would you like to meet some of my friends from work? They've been dying to know who the mysterious woman in the emerald dress is." Relief washed over like a cool wave. "I'd like that." As Lisa led the way through the crowd, her hand occasionally brushing against the silky fabric of the emerald dress, something unexpected happened. With each introduction, each conversation where Lisa casually said, "This is my friend Hallie," something inside began to unfurl. The anxiety that had been a constant companion started to recede. "So, how do you know Lisa?" asked a woman with a pixie cut and bright eyes. We've known each other for years, came the careful reply. Hallie and I have a complicated history, Lisa added, with a wink that somehow managed to be both cryptic and comforting. As the night progressed, the stilettos began to pinch, but the discomfort was nothing compared to the liberating feeling of being seen, truly seen, for the first time. People laughed at jokes, engaged in conversations about books and movies, complimented the eyeliner technique. Not once did anyone look with suspicion or disdain. Eventually, Lisa led the way to a quieter corner of the apartment. You never told me, she said softly. All those nights when you were distant, when you said you needed space, was this why? The emerald fabric rustled as shoulders moved in a hesitant nod. I didn't know how to tell you. I was afraid you'd... What? Leave you? Lisa's laugh held no malice. Clark, sorry, Hallie. I left because you wouldn't let me in, not because of who you are. I'm still figuring that part out myself. Lisa's fingers reached out, briefly touching auburn hair. It suits you. The whole look does, actually. You seem lighter somehow. I feel lighter, even with all this makeup on. A genuine smile broke through the nervousness. So is this... Are you... Lisa let the question hang, her expression open and curious rather than judgmental. I don't know yet. Sometimes I feel like Clark. Sometimes I feel like Hallie. Tonight, I'm definitely Hallie. Lisa nodded, taking this in. Well, Hallie, would you like to dance? The DJ just put on our song. The familiar opening notes drifted through the air, a song that had once been the soundtrack to lazy Sunday mornings and midnight drives. I've never danced in heels before, came the admission. I'll catch you if you fall. Lisa extended her hand, a gesture so simple yet profound in its acceptance. On the makeshift dance floor, other couples swayed to the music. A few curious glances came their way, but they were fleeting, soon replaced by the comfortable disinterest of people enjoying their own nights. You know, Lisa said, her voice close to an ear adorned with a simple silver stud. I always wondered why you never wanted to go shopping with me. Now I'm thinking we missed out on some great matching outfits. The laughter that bubbled up was genuine and free. I would have been hopeless then. This took months of YouTube tutorials. You're a quick study. That eyeliner is better than mine, and I've been doing it for 15 years. As they swayed to the music, something shifted. The world didn't end. The sky didn't fall. Instead, in the gentle acceptance of this moment, possibilities began to open up like flowers reaching for the sun. When the song ended, Lisa squeezed gently before letting go. I should mingle a bit more. Birthday girl duties. Of course. I should probably head out soon anyway. Really? The night's still young. Lisa frowned slightly. Is it the shoes? Because you can kick them off. Half the women here already have. It's not that. I didn't expect tonight to go this way. I need some time to process. Understanding dawned in Lisa's eyes. Okay, but before you go... She pulled out her phone. New number, same old me. Let's not be strangers again, okay? Clark or Hallie, I've missed having you in my life. The exchange of numbers felt like the closing of one chapter and the opening of another. Outside, the night air was cool against flushed cheeks. The click of stilettos on pavement created a rhythm that matched a heartbeat, finally settling into something steady and sure. The emerald dress caught the streetlights, shimmering like the surface of water disturbed by a stone. The apartment building looked the same as it had hours before, but everything else had changed. Inside, auburn hair was carefully removed and placed on a styrofoam head. Makeup was gently cleansed away. The emerald dress was hung with care. But as sleep finally came, something had shifted. The fear that had been a constant companion for so long had been replaced by something else. A quiet certainty that whether as Clark or Hallie, the days ahead held possibilities that had seemed impossible before. The next morning, sunlight streamed through half-closed blinds. Fingers reached for a phone, hovering over Lisa's name in the contacts list. After a moment's hesitation, a message was typed. "Thank you for last night. Would you like to get coffee sometime? Hallie." The response came faster than expected. "Absolutely. How about Saturday? There's a new place on Main Street I've been meaning to try." Saturday arrived with a mix of anticipation and anxiety. The outfit chosen was simpler than the emerald dress, a soft blue blouse paired with dark jeans and ankle boots with a modest heel. Auburn hair, now styled in loose waves, framed a face with minimal makeup. Just enough to enhance rather than transform. The coffee shop buzzed with weekend energy. Lisa was already there, waving from a corner table with 2 mugs steaming in front of her. "I ordered for you," she said as Hallie approached. "Still take it with too much sugar and a splash of cream?" "Some things never change." Settling into the chair opposite Lisa felt both familiar and entirely new. "But some things do," Lisa replied, her eyes taking in the auburn hair, the subtle makeup, the nervous hands wrapped around the coffee mug. "You look nice. More relaxed than at the party." "I feel more relaxed. Less like I'm playing a part and more like I'm just being." Lisa smiled over the rim of her mug. "That's good. So, should I call you Hallie all the time now, or?" "I'm still figuring that out, but for now, yes. Hallie feels right." "Hallie it is." The conversation flowed easily after that initial awkwardness. They caught up on the past 6 months, Lisa's promotion, Hallie's decision to switch departments at work. They carefully avoided discussing their breakup directly, though it hovered at the edges of their words. "So, have you told anyone else?" Lisa eventually asked as they shared a chocolate croissant. "Not yet. You're the first person who's seen this side of me." "I'm honored, but also a little sad that you felt you couldn't share this with me when we were together." The croissant suddenly tasted like cardboard. "I wanted to, so many times, but I was still trying to understand it myself, and I was scared. Of what I'd think. Of what everyone would think. Of what it meant about me. Of everything." Lisa reached across the table, her fingers brushing against Hallie's. "And now? I'm still scared, but after the party, after seeing that the world didn't end when someone finally saw me, I'm less scared." "Good." Lisa squeezed once before letting go. "So, what's next for you?" The question hung in the air between them. What was next? The path ahead was unclear, full of both promise and uncertainty. "I don't know exactly. Live, I guess. Figure things out one day at a time. Maybe start telling people who matter." "Like your family?" A grimace answered that question. "They might surprise you," Lisa said gently. "People can be more accepting than we give them credit for. Or they can be exactly as judgmental as we fear." "True. But you won't know until you try. And whatever happens, you've got at least one person in your corner." The words wrapped around like a warm blanket on a cold night. "Thank you," As they left the coffee shop, Lisa hesitated on the sidewalk. "This was nice. We should do it again." "I'd like that." "Next time, maybe we could go shopping? You have good taste, but everyone can use a second opinion." The offer was casual, but its implications were profound. A future where Hallie existed not just in private moments or special occasions, but in ordinary life. "I'd like that too." They parted with a hug that lingered just long enough to be meaningful without crossing into complicated territory. As Lisa walked away, something settled in Hallie's chest. Not the fluttering anxiety that had been so familiar, but a steady warmth of possibility. The weeks that followed unfolded in unexpected ways. Coffee with Lisa became a regular occurrence, sometimes with shopping expeditions afterward. The first time they entered a women's clothing store together, Hallie nearly turned and fled, convinced everyone was staring. "They're not looking at you," Lisa whispered. "They're looking at these hideous neon leggings on display. Even the mannequins look offended." The shared laughter broke the tension, making it possible to flip through racks of clothing with gradually decreasing anxiety. At work, changes came in small increments. First, growing out natural hair past what would be considered typical for a man. Then, subtle changes in wardrobe, androgynous cuts, colors that had once seemed too bold. Colleagues noticed but said little, perhaps attributing the changes to a post-breakup reinvention rather than something deeper. Evenings were spent researching, reaching out to online communities, finding words for feelings that had existed without language for so long. Each new understanding felt like putting on glasses after years of seeing the world in blur. The decision to begin telling others came not from a dramatic realization, but from a quiet moment of clarity while watching the sunset from the apartment balcony. The world kept turning. The sun kept setting and rising. And in the face of that constancy, the fear of change seemed smaller somehow. Parents were told over a dinner that began in awkward silence and ended in tears, some of pain, some of relief, all of them necessary. Friends received the news in various ways, some with immediate acceptance, others with confusion that slowly gave way to understanding, a few with distance that might or might not eventually close. Through it all, Lisa remained a constant presence. Not quite a girlfriend again, but something more than a friend. She was there for the victories and the setbacks, offering advice when asked and silence when needed. "I've been thinking about starting hormone therapy," Hallie said one evening as they walked through the park, autumn leaves crunching beneath their feet. Lisa nodded, her breath visible in the cooling air. "That's a big step." "I know, but after these past few months, I'm more certain than ever that this is who I am, who I've always been." "How can I help?" The simplicity of the question, the lack of judgment or hesitation, made the moment perfect in its ordinariness. "Just keep being you. That's more than enough." The processes that followed were neither simple nor linear. There were appointments with doctors and therapists, discussions about options and timelines, forms to fill out, and insurance battles to fight. Through it all, the auburn hair grew longer, the wardrobe evolved, and the person inside became more aligned with the person the world could see. Lisa was there the day Hallie legally changed her name, waiting outside the courthouse with a small cake decorated with "Happy Birthday, Hallie" in swirling frosting. "It's not my birthday," Hallie laughed. "In a way, it is," Lisa countered, cutting slices for both of them on a nearby bench. "Besides, who turns down cake?" 6 months after the night of the emerald dress, they stood together in front of the mirror in Lisa's bathroom. Hallie carefully applied makeup, her hands steady with practice. You don't need as much, you know, Lisa observed, leaning against the doorframe. The hormones have softened your features. I know, but I like the process. It feels like meditation or something. Lisa smiled, watching the careful application of eyeliner. You really are better at that than me. Years of watching your technique, Hallie replied with a wink. I was paying attention even when you didn't realize it. Speaking of paying attention, Lisa moved closer, her reflection joining Hallie's in the mirror. I've been thinking. Dangerous pastime. Ha ha. I've been thinking about us, what we were, what we are now. The mascara wand hovered in midair. And I miss you. Not Clark, not Hallie, just you. The person who knows all my stories and laughs at my bad jokes and calls me out when I'm being ridiculous. I miss you too. So maybe we could try again? Not as who we were, but as who we are now? The question hung between them, full of risk and hope. I'd like that, Hallie said softly. But are you sure? This journey I'm on, it's not going to be simple. Nothing worth having ever is. Lisa's hand found Hallie's, their fingers intertwining. Besides, I think we've both proven we can handle complicated. Their first kiss as a new couple was different from all the ones they had shared before. It wasn't Clark and Lisa kissing. It was Hallie and Lisa, with all the history between them transformed into something new, yet familiar. As spring turned to summer, their relationship blossomed alongside Hallie's continuing transition. They learned each other again. New sensitivities, new pleasures, new ways of being together. The physical changes from hormone therapy created moments of discovery for both of them, tender explorations of a body becoming more aligned with the soul within it. There were difficult days, of course. Days when dysphoria hit hard, when family members said hurtful things without realizing it, when strangers stared too long or asked invasive questions. But there were beautiful days, too. The first time Hallie was called ma'am by a stranger without a second glance. The day a coworker casually used her correct name and pronouns without being reminded. The evening Lisa looked at her across a candlelit dinner and said, "You're glowing." 1 year after the night of the emerald dress, they returned to Lisa's friend's apartment for another party. This time, Hallie wore a simple black dress that highlighted the changes in her figure, subtle curves from hormone therapy, a softness to her features that hadn't required makeup to achieve. Nervous? Lisa asked as they rode the elevator up. A little. Some of these people haven't seen me since that night. They're going to be amazed at how far you've come. The door opened to reveal a scene similar to the year before. Music, laughter, the buzz of conversation. But this time, there was no hiding, no secret identity to maintain. Hallie walked in with her head high, her hand firmly in Lisa's. The host, Jennifer, spotted them immediately. Lisa! Hallie, you made it! She embraced them both warmly. Hallie, you look incredible. That dress is perfect on you. Thanks, Jen. It's good to see you. As they moved through the party, Hallie marveled at how different it felt from the year before. The anxiety was still there, but it was a background hum rather than a drowning wave. People greeted her by name, her real name, without hesitation. Those who had known her before sometimes stumbled, quickly correcting themselves with apologetic smiles.
Remember that guy from my office? The one who kept hitting on you at my birthday last year? Lisa whispered as they got drinks. Vaguely. I was pretty focused on not falling over in those stilettos. He just asked me if you were single. I told him you were very much taken.
The laughter that bubbled up was genuine and full.
Poor guy, barking up the wrong tree twice.
As the night went on, Hallie found herself in conversation with people who had only ever known her as herself. No history to explain, no awkward questions to navigate. Just normal party chatter about jobs and movies and the horrible traffic downtown. Lisa found her later by the windows, looking out at the city lights. "Everything okay?" she asked, slipping an arm around Hallie's waist. "Everything's perfect. I was just thinking about last year, how terrified I was, how sure I was that I'd be laughed out of the room if anyone recognized me. And instead, you saw me, really saw me, even before I fully saw myself." Lisa leaned her head against Hallie's shoulder. "I always saw you. Even when you were hiding, I saw glimpses of who you really were. I just didn't have the right words for it then." The party continued around them, but in that moment, they existed in their own bubble of understanding. The journey of the past year had been neither straight nor easy, but standing there, looking out at the city where their story had unfolded, Hallie felt a profound sense of rightness. The emerald dress still hung in her closet, a reminder of the night when everything changed. But it was no longer a costume worn in fear and secrecy. It was simply a beautiful dress, one of many in a wardrobe that reflected the woman she had always been meant to be. "Dance with me?" Lisa asked, tugging gently at her hand. "Always." As they moved together on the dance floor, Hallie caught a glimpse of their reflection in a mirror across the room. The auburn hair she had once been so afraid to show the world now caught the light as she moved. The body that had once felt like a stranger's now moved with grace and confidence. And in Lisa's eyes, she saw what she had always hoped to find. Not tolerance or acceptance, but love. Simple, profound love for the person she was, had been, and was becoming. "What are you thinking about?" Lisa asked as the song came to an end. Hallie smiled, brushing a strand of auburn hair from her face. "The future. Our future." "I like the sound of that." Outside, the city lights twinkled like stars brought down to earth. Inside, in the warmth of acceptance and love, Hallie danced another dance, then another, each step more confident than the last. The emerald dress that had once been armor was now just a memory, replaced by the simple truth of being exactly who she was meant to be. And that, she realized as Lisa laughed at something she whispered, was the most beautiful outfit of all.
Thanks for watching, my girlies! Be sure to check out Patreon for more!